Good morning, afternoon, evening, gamers. So I have something new for you. This has been trending on YouTube quite a lot lately. Um, I Over the weekend I've been watching reactions to this video, um, and the reason why I'm doing it, not necessarily because I always follow things that are trendy, but because I think this is a good message that a lot of, in this instance, well, maybe women as well, but young men need to hear, and we as a collective, as people, need to just figure out how to do better because this is not okay. So let's go to the game cam, but it's music cam. Never mind. Don't worry about it. Let's play. I would say I've had too much coffee, but this is my first cup of coffee, so I can't really blame it on that. Let's go. Now, this is by Dax. Go after the video. Maybe go and watch his without me, talking all over it. But I want it to be transformative. I don't want to just plagiarize his work, because I'm sure he works extremely hard, and I bet he did with this. It's really good. But go and show him some love, because we need more people to talk about these problems in our society. Let's go.
I can't hide myself. I don't expect you to understand. I just hope I can explain what it's like to be a man. It's a lonely road, and they don't care about what you know. It's not about how you feel, but what you provide inside that home. Yeah, I know this life can really beat you down. You wanna scream, but you won't make a sound. Got so much weight that you've been holding, but won't show any emotion. As a man that goes unspoken, now we can't cry when life gets hard. Unconditional loves for women, children, and dogs. We know that we just have to play our parts, and don't nobody give a damn about our broken hearts, yeah.
I'm just gonna stop at that. I'm trying to let it play as much as possible, but also, I think if you're a guy, you felt this, and it's every time I watch it, I think, oh, maybe those feelings will lessen, but they really don't. Every time I watch it, I just feel this sense of sadness, and just why because of my gender, because of the color of my skin, because my ancestors did terrible things to people. I understand, but why are all of the world's ills my fault all of a sudden? Why am I being demonized? I don't understand it. And many guys go through this. Believe me. We push it down and we push it down, and then it breaks. And usually, at not a good time. There's probably no good time, but yeah, all guys. I would think most guys go through this. Probably not all, but a lot. A job I was working at last year, there was a young man just going through some things, and it's so hard to watch because you don't know what to do. The and there's not a lot of help out there for guys, really. Certainly here in the UK, funding keeps getting cut for for mental health. It took me years and years. I mean, I'm talking at least 10 plus years to get antidepressants. I've had a severe type of depression. I don't even know what type it is. Since I was kind of young, probably, if I had to guess, when I hit around puberty, perhaps, and I started looking at the world, and I realized that something wasn't right. Either the world wasn't right, or there was something about me that wasn't right, or a combination of the two. I suspect a combination of the two. And it's difficult because you don't understand. It's like, well, why am I not like those people over there? Like, why can I not just get on and do what I need to do? And the amount of times I've punished myself for being, mentally weak, it's incredible. Like, you don't know why you are the way you are. You wouldn't ask for it, honestly. I was born with lung disease and asthma, and honestly, between the three, between my poor mental health and the asthma and the lung disease, I'd happily keep the lung disease and the asthma, because it probably won't be those that kills me. You know. So it's a hard thing, and you're pushing it all down, and you're pushing it all down, which is not healthy. And guys, I don't recommend it. Find somebody to talk to. It's not easy, like that opening up. I can talk now more, and yet there's still a side of me that is like resistant, because there's that programming, right? Like, when you're born, you're this blank canvas, unspoiled, and then slowly, as you grow, you get your parents, grandparents, and all of their biases and all of their prejudices. Well-meaning, of course. Like I don't think anybody is doing this on purpose, but we are. We're imprinting onto our children and their children, and friends, and the influences of their parents and ancestors, teachers who are well-meaning, but they're just reading you something out of a book. I often wonder how much of what you and me think is actually what we think, and how much of it is programming. We've been programmed. Guys are this way, girls are that way, and yet when you look at it, when it comes down to the basics, we don't live in caves anymore. That nature suited us when we did, but we don't anymore. We've come a long, long way, but we haven't in that mentality, because it's been programmed into us and programmed into us and programmed into us. Some will say that some of it is instinctual and hereditary, which, because as guys we have testosterone, females have the other one. And I guess that's true to a point. But at what point is it not biology, but more programming? Maybe that doesn't make any sense, but I've often thought about these things. I often think, like, why are we having these problems? Why are we not sitting down and just having conversations? I think with how busy the world has become, we're not sitting down and having complex conversations with our significant others, which leads to misunderstanding and people being hurt. And I promise you, a guy, you'll rarely see that you've hurt them. But you can. We're not machines. We're human beings, but we don't often get treated like human beings. And I don't understand how we think that this is a good idea. Why?
As a man, we gotta pave our way. Our only function is to work and slave. There's no respect for you if you ain't paid. You're disregarded as a human and you can't complain. And if you ever make it up and actually reach that place and find a woman that you love and give her your last name, you'll feel the things that you provide is only why she stays. And when you try to explain, you'll say, I can't hide myself.
Yeah, I would imagine that a lot of men that are divorced and have lost pretty much everything that they ever cared about, everything that they built up, their children, because we know that children get used as weapons, which I still don't understand. When we talk about think of the children, we think that using children in courtroom battles is okay. That's normal. It shouldn't be. But most guys just in the modern day, when you look at the statistics for marriage, I would think that most guys are looking at their statistics and going and looking at the bias that is on them, that 9 times out of 10 you're pretty much going to lose. And that is the way it is. There is a prejudice against men in family courts. Everybody knows it, but people don't want to acknowledge that. So I would imagine that men just looking at these statistics are going, yeah, I don't think this is a good idea. And then of course you've got the more the radicalized feminists. I think feminism, to a point was a good thing, and it needed to happen because nobody should feel like a second-class citizen. Absolutely, I agree. My mom was a feminist. However, she believed that everybody should be equal, that we should be working together, and nobody excluded. She really believed that, and still believes that. But these radical females, I don't think that is what they believe. They come out with things like men should be killed and men are trash. And most of them are generally living in countries where, they're pretty comfortable and the infrastructure around them was built by men. All the comforts that you have was generally built by men. That is not to say that women haven't contributed as well. That's not what I'm saying, and I don't want it to be like that. I don't want it to be men against women and women against men. I don't think most of us want any of this. But whilst you're complaining and saying these pretty terrible things about men, the car you drive, the infrastructure that you have was built by men. Their blood, sweat and tears. And trust me, there were tears, because there are jobs, I've done them. Like, it's grueling. I worked in Honda, not for very long, and I got to see what kind of life that is. And to be fair, it suits some people. but a lot of people it didn't suit, and people's body parts just wearing out from repetition. Physical bodies, like, it was awful. And yeah, it was not for me, and I'm glad I got out of it. And I tried to do it for my family, but yeah, I wasn't. I didn't I didn't last that long. I just thought, if this if this is my life, if this is what I have to do for money, I I think I'd rather go. I think I'd rather go find a bridge. Thanks. Like, nah. But men do these things. Men way stronger than me do these jobs to create the comfortable world that you live in. So the next time you see you see workmen in the street, just just think about that. Doing jobs that pretty thankless. You know, maybe buy them a coffee. Just show some appreciation. I think that's all it is. It's just the amount of disrespect. Like, not every man is is a rapist or a monster. Like, that's not how that works. There are good and bad people, yes. There's good men, and there's good women, and there's bad women, and there's bad men. It's human nature. It's not necessarily a gender thing. It's so sad how how we've come to this. What are we doing? How is this progress?
I don't expect you to understand. I just hope I can explain what it's like to be a man. It's a lonely road, and they don't care about what you know. It's not about how you feel, but what you provide inside that home. Don't give up, keep fighting. As a man, our sun is our horizon, and our father's actions play a role, and we end up like them. So they can't let us see them hurt, cause we'll embody what they do and start a generational curse. No wonder most men are so depressed, all the things that they can't express. They go to war, get thrown on the shelf, then go back to war with their mental health. Then grab that bottle and ask for help, try to pull themselves out of hell, then fall back down and then realize that they're gonna have to do it themselves. It's the circle of life. As a man, you provide. They don't know what you're worth till the day that you die, and that's when they start crying. Then move on to a man to confide in. That's why we feel we can't hide ourselves.
What the world basically tells you is you're replaceable. And what women, not all women, but a lot of women tell you is you're replaceable. As soon as you've got nothing else that I want, that's it. I'll move on to the next person. And that's not to say that there's not guys doing that as well. Like, again, it's not necessarily always a male female thing. It's a human nature thing. But this guy here built so much of the world that you live in that allows you to have a comfortable life. It is that simple. It's not to say that women can't do these jobs. No, and there are a scattered few women that do these jobs, but generally most women don't do these jobs and maybe don't want to do these jobs. And to be honest, I get that. I understand that. These are tough. These are tough jobs. They can be soul destroying. And if you think that men aren't feeling the mental fatigue, you're wrong. But the thing is, they come home and it's like, don't nobody want to hear that. And some girls do want to talk about it. Here's the other thing as well, and I'm this is the thing, ladies. Um, if your guy confides in you and opens up to you and lets you into how he feels, don't, in an argument, turn that back on him, because he will never ever tell you anything ever again. He won't, because we know that happens. We tell you something, and then you'll turn it back around on us when in an argument, to just try and hurt us, to just try and find that chink in our armor. Don't do it, because if you want men to open up to you, but then we know that you're going to use it against us, we're not going to tell you. And most men, like, there's still, and we really need to break the cycle, but there's still this idea of what a man is, about being tough and being strong and not showing weakness, which is all well and good, but it's just not possible. It's not. The world is tough, and it will break you. It doesn't matter who you are. It will break you. And needing to show vulnerability, sometimes we need to be able to do that without fear of being judged, because the suicide rate amongst men is really, really high. And to be honest, any life, whether it's a child, whether it's a man, whether it's a woman, any life lost that could have been avoided is a no. Because hiding within these people is greatness. Everybody has it, but sometimes through choices, because you've got to earn a living, it doesn't always shine through. Many people are doing jobs that they weren't necessarily born to do. I give you an example. You may not know this person, but in the UK there's a show called the X Factor, and you get singers on there, and some of them are incredible. There was one guy called Paul Potts. He turned out to be an opera singer, and a really, really good one. And music, as we know, can uplift the soul. Music can be therapy in itself. He was working in a phone shop, selling, phones and cases and, all of that stuff. But that clearly wasn't what he was born to do, because he had this natural talent, God-given, if you like, if that's your thing. But whether it is or it isn't, it doesn't matter. He had this natural talent, but gotta make a living, right? So he was doing a job that he was not born to do. He was born to entertain people with his voice. And there are many there are many people that have come onto that show, and their voices are incredible. And you hear about them just doing jobs that they're probably not really suited for. But you got to make money, right? And it probably happens the other way around. You've got somebody who's, I don't know, working in a diner, and it's not really the job for them, but they could be in a marketing job, doing really well at that. We struggle sometimes, I know I have, to find where we fit in life. Some people, like my son, he just knew what he wanted to do. And, I met yeah, there were other kids at school. They knew what they wanted to be, and they did it. And I admire that so much because I've wandered throughout most of my life. I tried jobs, I tried them out, see if it fits. Just, try and figure things out. You've got to make a wage, and so you know, you just kind of go along and just try to figure things out. But I don't think I've ever really found where I fit or where I belong. But you still got to make money whilst you're still trying to figure that out. But yeah, what are we doing? We just, if you really want equality and you want inclusiveness and you really believe in that, then we have to figure out how to do better. Because I think the world was doing better. I think it was, generally. It wasn't perfect, not by a long shot. But we were getting there. But now, we seem to be going backwards. And I don't understand how that's helping anybody. Men just trashing women, women trashing men. It's all the same thing. It doesn't matter which side you're on. It's not helpful. And it's not pushing us as a people in the right direction. Or maybe I'm wrong. Maybe this is good for human beings, for us to, rather than break down the divides, we'll just build new ones and higher ones. Because, yeah, that seems like a good idea, right? Right?
We don't expect you to understand. We just hope we can explain what it's like to be a man. It's a long.
There you go, right there. Right there. Sorry, Dax. How?
We can explain what it's like to be.
There you go. These are the guys who created your infrastructure, who made the world comfortable for you. These guys, thankless jobs, out in all weathers. Just, I think it's the lack of compassion. I think that's what makes me sad. This is a human being. And this chap here, they're human, they're not machines. They're not like the mechanical diggers. They're people who often get the short end of the stick for whatever reason. And yet without them, you wouldn't have all of the comforts you have. I wouldn't have the comforts I have. The computers that I'm using to do this, Dax, being able to use all the equipment to try and bring you this message, none of it would be possible. And again, that's not to say that women aren't contributing as well. Of course they are. Because that's how that works. Men are really good at doing some things. And there are some things that we're not good at doing, that we lack. And for women are great at doing lots of things and not great at other things. That's how it works. You take people and you put them together and you make everything better. But somehow we're just we seem to be falling apart.
It's a lonely road, and you don't care about what we know.
And for our military, I mean, at least, people who have gone to war, and I I can't imagine what that's like. I have mental battles in my head some days just to keep breathing. But the things that they've seen, it doesn't even compare. I'm absolutely certain. And so now they've gone and they've fought physical wars, seen people that they made friends with die in front of them, and the callousness and the disregard for human life. And then, because they're no longer useful to the machine that is the military, they get kicked out with no kind of safety net or protection. But meanwhile, all of the things that they've seen, so PTSD, is raging in their minds. And they're having that battle in their head, which obviously is going to affect everything around them and their life, which often a lot of them end up, in terrible situations. Maybe they just go into a supermarket to do some shopping, and something startles them, and then we've got a situation. A lot of them become homeless, and this is not right. Why are we treating people? People talk about freedom. They're the people that gave you your freedom, and all the people that are trying to shut down other people for their opinions. No, that's not how that works. You can have an opinion about anything you like. That's fine. I can have an opinion about that. But at the end of the day, so long as you're living your life and you're not really hurting anybody, it doesn't matter. As long as you're trying to be good to people and try to do better and be better as a human being and treat others as a human being, it's all good. They are just that. They're opinions. They don't really matter. You can have them. I have one right now, and you have one right now. But it doesn't matter. But people that fought for you to have that right to an opinion, just being left out in the cold, and that's a no. That's a no in my book. We can't do it. We need to do better. I mean, generally, I in an ideal world, I would rather we didn't have military. I would rather we didn't have weapons and war. I don't advocate for war whatsoever. It's stupid. In the words of Fallout 4, war never changes. It's expensive and it's stupid. And I mean, if we're looking at the news now, the news is a huge, just warmongering machine. I don't like modern media. They don't just tell you what's going on. That they tell you what's going on in their opinion and what they think. I don't. We shouldn't need them to tell us how to think and feel. We should be able to do that for ourselves. Because you can be led down the wrong path sometimes. You can be unknowingly caught up in somebody's agenda for whatever it is that they're trying to achieve. But if you believe even half of the news at the moment, things are getting pretty terrible, and the threat of war looms, and I can tell you that it's not good. It's not good at all, and I don't think anybody wants it, apart from the megalomaniacs, of course, the ones with their huge egos that they're just not listening to anybody. They're just blinkered. Which is kind of sad, but we can't be doing this to our soldiers. No, it's not good. We shouldn't be treating anybody like this. Anybody. because we're all one race. It's not like we're talking about like aliens. Oh, those people from Belgium, they're not actually human. They're from outer space. Like, what are you talking about? No, they're human beings. Every single person on Earth is part of the same collective, human beings, mankind, and we're just acting so divided, and it's causing so many problems, and it doesn't need to. So we need to have conversations, and it starts with, what are we doing to each other? What are we doing to people?
It's not about how we feel, but what we provide inside that home. Inside that home. That home. It's not about how we feel, but what we provide inside that home. Inside that home.
Yeah, I'm interested in this one as well, that I'm going to watch at some point. I don't know whether I will do reactions to all of his videos, unless I really think that there is a need to put them out there. I know that there are much bigger channels, which has never been the point of my channel. I'm kind of going for organic growth. If you click on me and you like what you see, not necessarily me, but the the message that we're trying to do, then then you will add me. And if you don't, that's cool too. You'll move on, and I kind of like that. But I know that the bigger channels are definitely doing this song, because guys need to hear this. They need to know that that we're not second class citizens, that we or that we shouldn't be, that we should be added into the world. And I think women do need to hear this as well. I watched I've watched quite a lot of reactions. I like watching people and seeing how it affects them. And there was one guy, I think he was called Caveman. I don't quite remember. I have a terrible memory when it comes to names. I think he was called Caveman, and it really affected him. And you could kind of feel it yourself. And then I watched another one where his wife was reacting to him reacting to Dax, and again it was like, oof. And I've watched a couple of others with it being women. Wow, what is going on? But yeah, I've seen some other women, and I think they at times, probably again because life is just busy, and if you've got children and that, sometimes you forget to just kind of take care of one another. If you're a mum and dad and you've got kids and you've got a life and you've got work, and I mean this guy Caveman, I think he was doing like 2 or 3 jobs, and his wife was doing YouTube as well, and probably other jobs as well, because motherhood is a job. I don't think any, or no reasonable person would say that it isn't. Of course it's a job. But yeah, and being so busy, I think we forget to just, check in. Mothers and fathers, husbands, wives, forget to maybe check in with each other. And we kind of need to, because this isn't great. Not Dax. Dax is great. His tattoos are amazing, but then I like tattoos. I've only got a couple myself. I was planning to get more, but then, COVID and, you know, other things going on. But yeah, I thought this was a great video, and just hopefully we start having conversations. I mean, I don't care if you agree or disagree with anything that I've said, and maybe some things didn't make sense, and that's great. That's fine. I don't want you to necessarily agree with me, and I'm not preaching at you. I'm not. You live your life and do you. As long as you're not hurting anybody, it doesn't matter. But even if you disagree with me, I hope that you're at least having conversations. That's good enough. You know, ridicule me, but still have the conversation about why so many men feel like second-class citizens, which is not okay. And the divide between men and women, when really we need each other. We do. And that, and men and women as well. Like, again, it doesn't matter. Love is love, or should be. But again, even within that, there's just these huge divides. People attacking people for playing a video game. I'm like, really? Are you serious? That's not the problem. The real problem is people in other countries in the world being murdered just for being who they are and wanting to love who they want to love. That's a thing we can talk about. That's a thing that we should get behind. Young women not being able to play a game of football and having to burn their kits because they would be punished for just wanting to play a game of football. We can talk about that. Let's talk about that, because I'll be right there behind you. If we're sending women onto the battlefields wearing skimpy armor, yeah, let's talk about that. Because that's stupid, and we should never do that. In real life, in a video game, it's pixels, it's imaginary, it's make-believe. It's guys who are never going to be favourable to women, just trying to, find some love. It doesn't matter, it's pixels, it's made up. So, the world is in just such disarray at the moment, and we're not heading forwards, we're heading backwards, and all this talk of, inclusiveness and no one left behind. Yeah, I don't believe you. I don't. And I think a lot of the real feminists are also don't believe it, because now they're starting to be like, nah, this is stupid. As a people, as a human race, we're, rather than looking at the past and going, terrible things happened, which is kind of, to me, the idea of history. We look at history and we go, wow, we made some incredibly stupid mistakes. Let's look at that, and let's never do that. And let's do things better and be better. But no, we're now looking at the past and using it to bash people in the modern age. So why? It's so messed up out there. So yeah, I'm gonna probably watch that at some point. I think I went and signed up to Dax on Instagram, and I'm gonna see what other videos he's got, because honestly, there aren't a lot of people having these conversations, and we need them. We need more of them. All different topics. I liked the Jonah Lucas one, I'm not racist as well. It was fascinating to me how many people took one side or the other when both sides were both kind of wrong, with maybe some grains of truth. But that was fascinating to me. But again, that was a good conversation. I think I did a video on that again, because we need to get it out there. And just in case you're somehow confused, this channel is not about making money. I'm not trying to be Felix. Felix is Felix, and Felix is very good at being Felix, and I wish him all the love. And he and his wife, just it's a beautiful thing. I'm not trying to be Felix, and I'm not trying to. Remember when a hobby used to be just a hobby, and it wasn't just about money? Because the thing is, as soon as you throw money into the equation, things get muddied. All of a sudden, you're making videos about things that you don't necessarily like or enjoy, but hey, they're popular, and you've got to feed that algorithm to get that money. And like, I'm not mocking YouTubers. I understand, but at the same time, the authenticity, the genuineness is kind of being lost. And that's, for me, that's just not what I want. I want to... I first of all, I love video games. Love video games. To me, video games are art. And the way I look at this channel is... So this is a museum. And the content are the paintings. And you get to see them. And I get to be the... you know, the guide that walks around and sort of tells you a bit about them. And then I want to leave you to explore these games, this music, to think, to have conversations. If it's a game and you really like it, go and support these amazing developers and artists, because I think it's a form of art. Apparently that's still being contested, but that just sounds to me like gatekeeping. The artwork that tends to have they tend to look down on people for some reason. The same with the fashion world. I enjoy fashion, but I don't believe that wearing Gucci or Prada makes you somehow better than somebody because you could afford it. To me, you're missing the whole point. To me, the idea of fashion is, if you feel good, or, yeah, if you look good and you feel good, then you can use that energy to energize everybody around you, to pull people up, not push people down. That, to me, was the point of fashion. And, you know, matching colours. I've got lots of different trainers of different colours, so that depending on what I'm wearing, not that I go out much now, but I can match trainers with the clothes, and you know, things like that. But it doesn't have to be Gucci or Prada. I mean, most of those things are really overpriced, and it's just like a flex thing, which I don't really understand that kind of mentality. You're not better than anybody. But hey, you know what? You do you. And yeah, that's kind of how I see that. But to me, it is art. Video games and music, it's art. It's expression. And if Dax, sorry, I don't know what a Dex is. If Dax imprints on one person, or I, or another channel, and helps them just a little bit, like that's got to be something. That's got to be worth something. To try and contribute to the overall well-being of people, of human beings. but yeah, maybe none of that makes sense, and it doesn't really matter. But yeah, go and check out more of Dax here with his amazing looking hair. That's very cool. But you know, go and give him some love. So hip hop artist currently creating something from absolutely nothing. I like that. That's cool. And there's some wonderful quotes on his Instagram as well. So maybe pop on over there if you like him. Check out some more of his music on his channel. He's here on YouTube, which is nice. And apparently the people that were in the video, they, because I watched another video where he was on with a big beefy guy. I don't remember that guy's name. And Dax was on with him, and he was saying that they're not actors. They were real people. He went to some part of the States, I forget, and did some filming with real people, which I think is wonderful. But yeah, you know, go and check him out, show him some love, and let's just have some conversations. Just, you know, let's just try and do better, I guess. So that's it. I shall see you on the next video. I don't know what it is. No, I don't know what it is. Okay, so be safe, be well, everybody. And I'll see you on the next one. I need to do the end screen because I always forget, because I sometimes don't care. Be safe, be well. Bye for now.